All right, I legitimately hit the record button this time.
Okay, cool. So now I can sound like a total buffoon.
Well, that's my job, actually. You're
well, here,
buffooned in training.
Well, I'm a generous guy, so I'll agree that it can be. I'll share it. It can be both of our jobs to be the buffoon of the podcast.
We have to give Buffoon one of the guest hosts that came on the show. Like, they could be Rebatois.
And just say, welcome the daily buffoon or the weekly buffoon. I think he'd be offended by that. I'd be like, what? I'm just here to talk about games.
No, we do not poo-poo on Rebatois 2. I bless him in these trying times. He actually just got COVID a few days ago. I was supposed to hang out with him. And literally a few days before, he's like, hey, I'm not feeling too great. I don't know if you want to still do this or not. And I'm like, I talked to my girlfriend, and we're like, yeah, we're just going to play it safe. And then literally the day after, he's like, oh, yeah, it was COVID. And I'm like, oh, I dodged a bullet there.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, nowadays when people say, yeah, I'm not feeling too good, you kind of just want to get like a cross and some garlic and maybe like a wooden stake and hammer and be like, back away, villain. I know what you have. Yeah, it's funny because like at where was it, at work, it was actually really strange because again, so for people who are listening, I'm actually working from home this week because I had a potential COVID contact or exposure, and I feel fine. I'm pretty sure I don't have it because I was wearing like all of like my PPE. I work in like a pharmaceutical company, but regardless, when I learned about the potential exposure, my boss texted me like subtly, like, "Look, this is what happened. You're potentially exposed. You have to leave the site immediately." Like he texted me this so that way I didn't like draw attention to myself. And so I was like, okay. So it was like right around lunchtime. So I walked back to my desk and I was just kind of packing up and everything. And people were like, "Oh, so what's going on?" And I'm like, "Oh, I have to head home right now, but kind of like a personal matter." And my boss walked by, and this is the person who texted me. And they said, "Yeah, like it stinks, man. We'll see you in a couple of weeks." And people were like, "Wait, what?" Like, and they kind of, I'm like, "What the heck?" Well, you texted me to kind of keep it like secret, and then you can walk by and you kind of just blurt it out. And again, I didn't really care, but in that moment, I realized everyone who was like around me immediately was like backing away from me. It was really strange.
Yeah, it's like he just defeated the whole purpose of the text. Like,
yeah. But and although that's true, just to experience that like the vibes from people like, oh my gosh, like shunning you or not actually shunning me, but just like like because they think he has COVID, they're immediately just like kind of like backing away a little bit. It was a really strange feeling,
It's funny. I never really like thought about that kind of stuff, but my job does a similar type thing where they won't necessarily be like, oh, this department, someone here was affected. They're very on the hush-hush, and they'll just kind of say, like, oh, we have 4 cases or confirmed cases at my job, but they won't say where it was, and all they'll say is people who were in their vicinity were notified, so I assume they probably do a very similar thing. Not to create that panic of, there's COVID in the building,
In a way, you would think that would happen, because if they just say, like, 4 people in our building or who work here have had COVID, have a nice day, and it's like, oh crap, who were they? And then everyone thinks, like, who could have been? So at least if they narrow it down by department, they can say, okay, if you were in this room or this area of the building, like, they've all gone home. If you've been in contact with anybody in the department, please, you might, go home or now. I don't know. So I think when they're being very like broad, like, yeah, like 4 people have had confirmed cases and they've been notified, and then they kind of just like end it there. It's like, but wait, who were they? Because what if I touched them or were close to them? I don't know. It's kind of funny to think about.
Yeah. It also creates this fun game of telephone where then all the employees have to try to figure it out. Now, because there's a lot of departments at my job, there's almost 1,000 people there, but, it's funny because they'll be like, oh, it was Samantha. It was Samantha who had it. Sam had it, yeah.
It's like a real live version of like Guess Who or something.
Exactly.
Or, what was that show on TV, like Figure It Out?
Also, I don't know. I assume they only will give the number for a confirmed case, like, because I was out a few times for COVID scares, but I hope they don't put the number, like, they don't count me. I assume a confirmed case does literally mean they had it or have it. What the heck are we talking about? Isn't this a video game podcast? Who
Oh,
cares
yeah.
about garlic
Yeah, sorry.
and...
Talk about tangents, yeah. Oh, God, you have it down, too! Maybe I gave it to you.
You know...
The COVID is so powerful, it went through the microphone over to you.
Yeah. So, sorry. Guess I gotta quarantine for 2 weeks, thanks.
No, no.
Because I have to sit in my house with all these video games.
The horror.
Oh, the humanity. Be clawing at the windows. I'm so bored. No, but I was going to say, we were talking about buffoons earlier. Well, you want to know who the real buffoon is? Everyone blame Mike for the podcast being delayed by a week.
Hey. All right, I am a buffoon. It's not my fault, though.
Actually, you're not the buffoon.
I will.
Who's the delivery guys?
Yeah, Bob's Discount Furniture. They're the buffoons. But for the sake of the podcast, I'll wear the dunce cap that has buffoon on it. But it's because I put it on. I put it on our Instagram that we were expecting some furniture, like literally just some furniture for our basement, and the upstairs furniture was supposed to be delayed till later this month. But they decided to bring it all over, and so when I came home, like Amanda's like, Mike, they brought the furniture in downstairs, but now the upstairs furniture literally is just. I was kind of mad they didn't assemble it. It was like, well, I shouldn't say assembled. The sofas were all wrapped up in plastic and cardboard, and I'm like, wait, why didn't they unwrap this? And I think just because Amanda said we still had the old furniture, and that's why. Oh yeah, that's right. Because we weren't expecting them to deliver it, we still had the old furniture, the old sofas, and I'm like, well, what the hell are we gonna do? Like, we can't put our new furniture in place. So then we had to call like a dump truck service or one of those like not U-Haul, but one of those like trash delivery people. I can't even describe it, but they come over with a big truck and they'll take away like whatever, if you have like old furniture, a dead body, you just give them like $100 and they'll throw it away for you. So I had to I was very preoccupied with that. I had to call these people, wait for them to get here, help them load everything up, and then move all the furniture in place. And by the time we were done, it was already like maybe 7:30 or 8 o'clock ish. So I knew like it was for the best to just delay the podcast by a week. So here I'm grabbing my dunce cap or my buffoon cap. I am the weekly buffoon. Repertoire 2 is safe for the week.
You know what? Give me that shit. I'm taking that dunce cap. Because guess what, guys? I'm completely transparent. We planned for this. We were going to try to record the podcast last Thursday, but then unfortunately, I think you got just really busy with your job. Like something unfortunate happened at your job. I think you said there was like an emergency situation. You don't have to go into more detail than that. It's okay.
Oh, no, you're right. That's right. Yeah.
So I know you... Oh, go ahead.
And I'm sorry. And then we tried to record Wednesday? Is that what happened?
It was Thursday.
It was Thursday. Okay.
Yeah, so we were going to try to record, and yeah, your work just got a hold on you, so you're like, oh, I'm sorry, Corey, but maybe you could find another host, which is what I decided to do. And I did reach out to another friend of the podcast, Abra, and he was like, oh, yeah, I'd be happy to join. But unfortunately, I got very mopey and down in the dumps. I don't want to get too much into the details there, but I was a little depressed. And again, coinciding here, a little bit depressed here. Happens to everyone, folks. But I'm not in the greatest of moods. Don't worry, I'm not going to do anything drastic. I'm not I don't know, clinically or whatever you'd call it. But I'm okay. I'm just a little mopey, a little sad. But I'll be all right. So, it's not just your fault, Mike. It's both our faults. It just happens sometimes. It's unfortunate. But here we are.
Just rip the dunce cap in half, and then we'll both be the dunces.
Yeah.
Tweedledee and Tweedle dunce. That was the worst joke I ever made in my entire life. Anyway.
I was trying to spitball like a rename, like level with dunces, level with buffoons, something like that.
We'll come up with something good during the podcast. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It'll come to us.
But
anyway,
we're here
video
now.
games.
Yeah, video games. Let me just hang on. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Level With Me podcast, episode 86. I am one of your hosts, Game Bro Corey, and I am joined once again by my co-host, Mike, aka The Collector's Vault. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing pretty good, Corey. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Level With Me. We are the dunces, and we are here to answer your questions. Probably incorrectly, because we are dunces.
Every response is going to be a duh with a little bit of spit dribbling out.
And I'd be, I'm the smart one between the two of us.
The answer's this many. But yeah, anyways, I just wanted to point out right up front, we're going to do a slightly shorter episode this week. Please forgive us. I know we took a week off, so we're already technically behind.
Hey, we're busy people, you know.
But yeah, with that being said, you know, there was 2 weeks worth of news here, and we're going to kind of like do the what were those called? The Spark Notes?
Cliff Notes or
Cliff
Spark
Notes.
Notes.
Yeah. So we're just gonna kind of go through some little things here or there. Excuse me, I need to cough. Oh boy, that's the Rona.
No,
that's really the
Rona. No.
Yeah, you don't want that cough in your throat.
Give me that dunce cap back. I don't want you to contaminate it.
Speaking of things in your throat, Pringles releases a flavor that tastes like an extinct animal from Halo Reach. Pringles' latest flavor is based on the Moa burger from the planet Reach. If you aren't familiar with that particular planet or flavor, it may be because it's based on a flightless bird delicacy from 2010's Halo Reach. Why now? What is this? What is this
right there
product crossover?
11 years too late. If anything, this would have been fun when Halo Reach was being announced. Like, you know, it kind of like the what was that? The sodas for Fallout, the Nuka-Colas, you know, something like that.
Well, yeah, those. Yeah, I definitely agree. And you know, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt here a little bit. Halo Infinite was technically supposed to come out last year, but then it got delayed. So maybe that's why it's in a weird place right now. But yes, if you guys are looking to get these exclusive Moa Burger flavored Pringles, you can only get them exclusively at Walmart. Can I just go on a quick tangent here? It's really not even going to be that long, and say I think it's so like silly how there's like an exclusive flavor of so many like products at every like place you could think of. Like 7-Eleven has like exclusive like Mountain Dew flavors, or for example the Walmart exclusive Pringles. Like it's so weird. Like why are these things?
Yeah, just weird little partnerships, I guess, where like the Walmart family's probably like, here, we'll give you extra money if you just let us sell this Pringle.
Also, like, oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, because we all know the people who shop at Walmart need those Pringle flavors.
I'm just going to assume that this thing tastes like a cheeseburger flavored Pringle. What else would it taste like?
No, it's a Moa burger, Corey. Come on, you've had Moa before.
Ah, that's the genius. It's like a mystery flavor. No one's ever had Moa, so they don't actually know if it tastes.
And then
good idea, Pringles.
Yeah. And then when you like it, oh man, I need some Moa.
The real answer, the real question to my answer, or the answer to my question, I'm all over the place, is that the Moa burger flavor is just all the rest of the flavors that they don't have a lot of powder left, and like I don't know, just make a new flavor with this.
You should have done it off the other extinct animal, the whale. Whale burgers.
Oh god, I was just playing Cyberpunk. I don't want to think about our horrible dark future where no animals exist anymore. Hey, video games. We like to have fun here and play video games. Yeah, Pringles, that you can eat those. I guess you could technically play with Pringles. That's another podcast though. We're here to talk about video games. Today, Literally, this just happened this morning. So the Microsoft and Bethesda, like you know how Microsoft bought Bethesda not that many months ago. Well, I guess like the deal is like actually coming to a conclusion now, or like actually like wrapping up, because I guess they kind of just announced it and we're in the process of acquiring Bethesda. And there's been a lot of news going around since this is like finalizing. One of these articles being some Bethesda games will be Xbox/PC exclusive under Microsoft. Some future Bethesda games will be exclusive to PC and Xbox consoles, head of Xbox Phil Spencer has revealed. In an article on Xbox Wire welcoming Bethesda to Team Xbox, Spencer wrote the following: "With the addition of the Bethesda creative teams, gamers should know that the Xbox consoles, PC, and Game Pass will be the best place to experience new Bethesda games, including some new titles in the future that will be exclusive to Xbox and PC players." I definitely think that this is the right move. You know, if Microsoft is going to drop the money to acquire Bethesda, of course they would want to have some of these games be exclusive and would want to tantalize players into purchasing a new Xbox or maybe getting them on PC, whatever works. I'm curious to see what titles they mean. It's a little too early to guess that it would be like something major like Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield. I feel like maybe those could be a mass appeal thing, so they could actually make the most money. But maybe what this means is there will be like exclusive projects specifically for Xbox and PC. And a good example of this is kind of looking at like the Spider-Man games on the PS4, really any of the like Sony first-party titles, kind of like that.
I see.
I guess the best example is kind of that Indiana Jones game that's being made by Machine Head Games, the guys who made Wolfenstein, like the new ones. I believe that the new Indiana Jones game will probably be an Xbox and PC exclusive. And I think we'll see more. I think we'll see more games like that. All right, so we have some canceled games here that we have to talk about. Very sad.
Ooh, a card game. I love card games.
I said canceled game, not card game. Close enough.
Oh.
Artifact. Valve stops development on the struggling card game. Valve has officially stopped development on Artifact, its struggling collectible card game based on the Dota universe. Valve made the announcement Thursday, citing poor player count following the game's launch in 2018 and subsequent reboot Artifact 2.0 beta. While we're responsibly satisfied with accomplished I literally can't read. Excuse me. Let me restart the whole sentence.
Yeah. Start over.
While we're reasonably satisfied we accomplished most of our game side goals, we haven't managed to get the active player numbers to a level that justifies further development at this time, the Artifact team writes. As such, we've made the tough decision to stop development on the Artifact 2.0 beta. All right, I'm not an Artifact player. I've literally never played the game at all. I kind of smell some bullshit here. You're telling me Valve does not have the finances to continue to make this game better? Also,
I think they're just giving up.
What makes me really upset is they're saying how the player count is poor. Well, yeah, stupid. You're working on making the game better. You got to make it to a state where players are going to want to come and play it. If you just give up, like, what are they doing?
Yeah,
I totally agree with what you just said.
Yeah. I don't know all of the facts, but I think it's just like the game was dying and they just don't have they just don't care about trying to improve it. And it's a shame because there's a lot of like, I mean, this is obviously a digital card game, but even like in the physical card game world, like most people are familiar with like Pokemon and Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh. They're like the big three. And there's been other like card games that have gotten popular over the years. There's been like a Dragon Ball Super card game. There was there's a whole bunch, but then there's other ones like Card Fight Vanguard. There's another one called Force of Will, and these games have just had a lot of problems, and I think that they're still alive, but I've heard like they've had it's been like a roller coaster. Now, unlike Valve, they've been trying to like improve the game and try to make it more, player friendly. Not player friendly. They just want to make it a better experience. But sadly, it just looks like Valve just said, "Look, Artifact's just not good." It's and the funny thing is, with it being like a digital card game, they can just be like, "Yeah, we're just gonna stop." It's not like they have to worry about like shutting down the factories for printing all the cards and everything. It's like, nah, it's like, just pull the plug. Just literally, just pull the plug on it and just say like, whatever. The card game's dead. People already spent their money on it, and then we'll just work on something else. It's sad. I never want to see it like a game, especially a card game, fail. But it is what it is.
Now, for those of you who are curious, they are going to just offer all the cards in the game for free. I don't believe they're taking the game down or like shutting down the servers right now, so you can go look at Artifact. Just know that there's nothing more being added to it, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I guess when I saw that, I was thinking like they are the game's like done, but you mean like they're just ceasing further development? Like they're not going to keep like no more expansions and all. Okay, I see now. Yeah. Well, that's still very sad in my opinion.
Yeah, because I thought it looked interesting, and I know that they had like one of the creators of Magic the Gathering help work on this game, so it did seem like there was some sort of potential there. And I would have liked to try this out because I've generally had good times with the online card game, if you will, the Hearthstones and the Runeterras.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sad. It is what it is, but I say we just move on. Again, more sad news with canceled projects. We actually talked about this, I think, a few weeks ago on the podcast. Anthem development ceases. BioWare to focus on Dragon Age and Mass Effect. After over a year of internal overhaul on Anthem, EA and BioWare have decided to stop development on the 2019 action RPG and move on to other projects. In an announcement later this week, or whenever it came out initially, penned by an executive producer, Christian Daly, he explains that the decision to quit work on Anthem was motivated by a mixture of the impacts of COVID-19 and a desire to focus on other BioWare projects like Dragon Age and Mass Effect. 2020 was a year unlike any other, however, and while we continue to make progress against all our game projects at BioWare, working from home during the pandemic has had an impact on our productivity, and not everything we have planned as a studio before COVID-19 can be accomplished without putting undue stress on our teams, he wrote. I know this will be disappointing to the community of Anthem players who have been excited to see the improvements we've been working on. It's also disappointing for the team who were doing brilliant work. And for me personally, Anthem is what brought me to BioWare, and the last 2 years have been some of the most challenging and rewarding experiences of my career. Again, very sad to see this news. I also, like Artifact, I wanted Anthem to succeed and do well. I actually was very much looking forward to the Anthem 2.0 or whatever this update was going to be, because I thought that would be the time that I actually get into this game, because I think Anthem has a lot of cool, unique ideas. Granted, it's another looter shooter that there are a zillion of, but I thought the mech designs were cool, or I forget what they called the like mech things you go in. But they all seemed really neat.
The anthems. That's what they're called.
Sure. This is the anthem. Throw all your hands up.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could customize like your mech, like all the colors really well, and I saw some really neat designs referencing like animes and stuff like that. Of course, all the mechs had that cool like Iron Man style flying, which looked really neat. The game itself looked pretty in the engine, whatever it was. I don't know if the story was that interesting. I thought the gameplay also seemed kind of fun, even though, again, it was just a looter shooter. But, yeah, just bummed to see this news.
Yeah, it's EA games, so I don't give a darn. I give a darn a little bit. Again, because I agree, I don't like seeing games or anything fail.
You know, interestingly enough, unlike EA, right after this news, they also had a little like other story where they're like, okay, we're actually going to focus more on single player games because of how well Jedi Fallen Order did. So, like, originally this new Dragon Age they're making was going to have some sort of, like, multiplayer component, kind of like I assume, a co-op experience. But they decided to just drop that and actually make it a better, like, single player RPG, which I do appreciate. And they said they're going to make more
I would agree.
single-player RPGs. You know, maybe the new Mass Effect, whatever that'll be, will be a better game.
How about that, EA? You learned something.
Yeah.
It's not all about the looter shooters.
You know, I say that, and then funny enough, they also had there was another article, too, where EA is, like, postponing work on their new Need for Speed. God forbid any Need for Speed fans out there are crying about that. But they want to focus more on the new Battlefield game coming out later this year, which is also a multiplayer game. So, you know,
Nah.
it goes both ways. But again, you could also twist that around and be like, oh, look, they're going to try to make the new Battlefield game really cool. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Speaking of canceled games, tell me I'm wrong. Where the hell's Elden Ring? Elden Ring. Okay. So I believe it was like a week or two ago, there was like this leaked trailer for Elden Ring that came out. And that's mostly what I want to talk about this story. The article that I sent Mike here that you guys can't see, it's just kind of going all about all the different rumors going on. But I mainly wanted to talk about that there was a leaked off-screen trailer. I still don't know how these trailers happen. It's literally like someone grabbed their phone, and it's not even a modern phone. It's like a flip phone that could record video. I don't get it, but yeah. So it's like a angled shot of this monitor, and whatever this video, it has like, obviously, like, don't release this yet, or watermarks all over it that are like test footage or whatever. But you get to see a little bit of gameplay of what Elden Ring looks like. And it's pretty much what all the rumors are saying. It's kind of a more open world style Dark Souls game with some more elements in there. There was a brief section where someone was on a horse and fighting, which is actually a new thing for Dark Souls. All I'm going to say about that is I thought it looked cool. I did think, though, it doesn't look that different from what Dark Souls was. And that does make me a little bit sus that this was some sort of like fan-edited trailer. But I don't know. People weren't really talking about that. However, I'm still excited for this game, obviously. I'm a big From Software fan. But I thought that was kind of a cool little surprise to pop out. Speaking of cool little surprises to pop up, hey, they're making a new Aliens video game. Aliens Fireteam is a co-op PvE shooter coming to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Aliens Fireteam, a Left 4 Dead-like 3-player co-op PvE shooter, has been announced to release this summer on PC, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, and Xbox One. Developer Cold Iron Studios revealed that the project, which was teased back in 2018, will take place over a multi-mission story campaign, seemingly similar in the structure to Left 4 Dead or Back 4 Blood. Cold Iron co-founder Craig Zinkovich says one of the goals of Alien Fireteam is to fulfill the Cameron-esque fantasy we saw on screen in the 1986 classic Aliens. Fireteam is set in 2202, 2020-02, I guess, 23 years after the original Alien movie trilogy. At this point in the timeline, xenomorph outbreaks are rare, but the aliens are widely known about. The Colonial Protection Act of 2187 commissioned warships to patrol the universe and protect colonists from xenomorph outbreaks. You play as a new soldier aboard the USS Endeavour, and you end up orbiting Kontanga after a distress call. And I mean, you know, pretty much what they said, it's pretty self-explanatory. It kind of reminded me of Gears of War with like look of gameplay and kind of how like it's kind of a horde based of aliens, and there's like different aliens. Like right here it says there's 11 unique types. It's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think I really need to say much more. It's aliens, third person Left 4 Dead. I'm all in. I'm ready to play this.
Yeah. I remember there was actually there was a StarCraft like RTS version of the Alien universe, and it was Alien vs Predator, but it was like an RTS game, and I've never played it, but I wanted to. It sounded really cool.
That I was gonna say that also sounds really cool. I will say though,
it had all the different. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, with this game, the only thing that like I was excited for the announcement, but at the same time, I was just kind of like, oh, like it's just like a third person like action shooter. Like I don't know. I feel like we have like so many of those. So it was like a little bit like, oh, a new Aliens game, cool. But then also like, but it's that. I don't know. That's all I really had to say. Did you want to finish your point?
No. Oh, that's right. I was just going to kind of like comment on what you said before, like how because that the aliens have all different kind of like have all different types and everything, all the different kind of xenomorphs. That was like how you built like your little army. It was kind of neat. And that's all I want. That was it.
And even at the like end of the one trailer, they have the stinger that you'll probably fight the queen at some point. Maybe the final. Yeah, you know that would be pretty cool.
Gotta go fight Ridley.
All right. Video games, everyone loves them, especially those guys over at Sony. They got this thing, it's called the PlayStation 5. I know you can't find them anywhere, yet people keep buying them. It's weird how that works. But anyways, there was a State of Play. Yeah, I believe this was like 2 weeks ago. And this thing actually had some pretty cool announcements. So State of Play is kind of like Nintendo's Directs, where Sony kind of like feeds you some new hotness coming directly to the PlayStation ecosystem. So first of all, we have Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. And what this is essentially... So, well, this is like a two-parter thing. So, first of all, they announced that there's like the PS5 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake, which looks beautiful. It is so much more crisper. It runs like at 60 frames a second.
Ooh.
You guys definitely need to go check out the PS5 footage of Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's just chef's kiss. Looks so good. Then, what this new thing is, Intergrade, is essentially like a small DLC side campaign where you actually play as Yuffie, and you play as another character. I think he's a new character, but this is a completely separate side story with the Final Fantasy VII Remake thing going on. And weirdly enough, this is, I think, only PS5 exclusive. And like, I forget how you buy this thing, but it's weird. Okay, here, maybe it's going to talk about in the article. Not only will the PS5 version be a free upgrade for those who own the PS4 version, there will also be a new story episode players can purchase that will feature Yuffie. Okay, so that's it. You do have to buy this Intergrade side story thing. I don't know if they priced it yet. I want to say it's $30, but I don't think that's true. I'll put the dunce cap on. I don't know.
The dunce cap.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's dope though with the free like upgrade. I mean, they've been doing that with a lot of games, so that's not really that surprising. But this looked really cool.
I agree.
Also looking really cool, Kena Bridge of the Spirits. That'll be releasing on PS4 and PS5 on August 24th. And I also highly recommend anyone with a PS4 or PS5 go look this game up. It kind of reminds me of like Legend of Zelda mixed with like a Pixar movie like Moana, or even that new one that just came out, Raya and the Legend of the Dragon, or whatever it's called. This looks really cool, and it's visually like super impressive. It honestly just looks like a Pixar movie, and it's kind of like a third-person adventure action game. I'm very excited for this game. It looks really cool.
Neat, me too. I'll hear you talk all about it.
I want to say that was most of the main like cool announcements. Oh, well, actually no, there's a few more down here. I thought this game looked pretty cool. It's called Saifu or Shifu. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But this is like another like third person action game. But it's way more like a kung fu style. And the combat looks really neat because I believe you have like different stances that you can kind of like, and combos you can switch into. and perform as you're going around the environment. It almost had like a little bit of like something I thought was cool was while your player character was like walking around the environment, like they can actually like kind of incorporate, that's the word I'm looking for, the different things around them into their combat. So for example, they're like fighting a dude next to a table, and at one point they like slam the dude's head into the table like during the fight.
Nice.
So I assume there's probably a lot of cool stuff like that. I thought it looked really cool. Also, this is a random one, but Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. Now, I've never played any Five Nights at Freddy's games, but I do follow the story because I think it's kind of twisted and interesting. This is actually
it is interesting.
This is actually the first Five Nights at Freddy's game that's kind of just like a regular horror game where you actually get to roam around a 3D world and the animatronics are seemingly chasing after you and you have to hide from them. And I thought this actually looked pretty cool. The lighting in the areas look really good too.
Yeah, because the original games were actually, I think they were very impressive of what the guy did. They were all kind of like you know those like what were they called, like the point and click flash games or whatever. That's kind of what these things were, but they were interactive, and I think visually they were pretty well done. I think it was just a bunch of like 3D models that the creator made, and then he was able to like I guess for the most part animate them. But yeah, this being like a definitely I don't know if AAA is the right word, but
I would say AAA.
A fully fleshed out 3D world. Yeah, but like fully fleshed out 3D world with like actual textures and lighting effects. So that's gonna really help with creating this like scary atmosphere. So I'm pretty pumped for that. At the very least, I want to at least watch gameplay. Because again, if it is a PS5 exclusive, I'm probably not going to be able to play it. But I just want to experience what the game would look like. Because even just, and I'll tell you what, story wise, at this point I don't care anymore. Because the Five Nights at Freddy's story, I was like super hard like following it because of how cool I thought it was. But then it kind of just went off the rails, and it's like I don't know what the heck's going on anymore. It's kind of like frustrating.
I'm right.
It was
there
such a
with
good
you.
simple story, and now.
Yeah,
it was such a good, simple story.
Comics and card games, and like it's almost like Kingdom Hearts, where like everything has like a little bit of lore in it now.
Yeah, and I was actually enjoying reading one of the books, and the book actually was really good. But then I'm just thinking, like, is this canon or is it just like a side story?
Oh,
and
right.
And the books can be side. The books can be side stories. I don't care, but it's more like the games itself. Because I played all the games, all the computer games, and it got to the point where I'm like, wait, I don't know what the heck's going on. There's so many questions, and it's kind of like at the point where I think even the creator has no idea what the heck's going on. It's kind of like J.J. Abrams when he was doing Lost. He kind of just ended the show like, yeah, they're all dead. I don't know, just like whatever. Anyway, moving on.
Also, just last note about that, I thought it was kind of interesting that there are actually like human characters in this new Five Nights at Freddy's game, which I believe is also a first. Usually it's always just the animatronics, but it was just weird seeing another like human, like, oh, right. But yes, it is that time, ladies and gentlemen. We here at Level With Me love our Nintendo news so much. We like to always save it
My
for
favorite.
the very end, like a dessert. And starting things off, the rumors are flying heavy and loose tonight. New Nintendo Switch with larger screen 4K output reportedly in the works. Nintendo is allegedly set to reveal a new model Nintendo Switch with a bigger Samsung OLED display later this year that will be able to output 4K ultra-high definition graphics when in docked mode. As reported by Bloomberg, Nintendo is planning to unveil this new model in hopes that the larger touchscreen can prop up demand in time for the holidays. Samsung Display Co. will start mass production of 7-inch 720p resolution OLED panels as early as June 2021, with an initial monthly target of under 1 million units. These displays would then be sent to assemblers in July. And then it says in the RGN article, for reference, the current Switch model features a 6.2-inch 720p resolution screen. This screen would look as if you extended the current Switch's screen that replaced most of the black bezel around it, which is interesting. Is that a sigh of frustration?
Well, in a way, because I'm very happy with my Switch and I love it. I'm just thinking, like, man, do I have to go spend money and buy another Switch? I'm pretty sure it's not going to be like, it's not like, you have to buy the new one to play the new games. It's more like, it's just like the PS. Well, it's not the same as the PS5 and Xbox Series X debacle, but this is just more like, do you want your games to run better? Then you can pay the extra money and get this. But I don't know.
It was the half-step consoles, and you saw that Sony and Microsoft did it last generation with the Xbox One X. I already almost forgot the name of it.
Yeah, and the PS Pro or whatever
PS4
it's called,
Pro. And
and then we're finally getting the Switch version. Yeah, I was saying, and then the Switch version has been rumored for a while. It's just like, but now it's like I'm just accepting the fact. Oh man, I gotta spend a lot of money for this now because it's gonna be just so much better to play on the better, more powerful Switch.
Oh man, I didn't even think of like just the demand for whenever this new Switch comes out. It's gonna be bananas, dude. Like
honestly. People thought PS5 and Xbox was bad. This is gonna be, I think, it'll be worse.
Dude, I'm just like about to tear my hair out thinking about how hard it will be to actually get whatever the new Switch model is, because it was hard for them to keep Switch models on shelves when the Switch was like 3 years old. That was right around the pandemic.
Yeah,
though, but
that's true though. Yeah, but that regardless, that's a very good point. Even like 3 years into its life, Switches were in super high demand still,
but I do definitely
they're
think
at 80 million views.
I do definitely think that Nintendo will work around this, and I hope to God that they're not gonna make it so it's like, oh yeah, Breath of the Wild 2 you can only play on whatever this new Switch is, or Metroid Prime 4 you can only play on this new Switch, or maybe they'll do that, but they're just not gonna say it, which would be real shitty. Like, oh yeah, we recommend you play it on the new Switch because it will run and load better,
I can see that. I can't, but like that they'll recommend it, but I'm pretty sure that they're not. I think any Switch will be able to play all of the new games, but they'll probably just be like we're seeing with the cross. Look, it doesn't run as good, and the thing is, I think it's acceptable when it's done like this, where it's still a Switch. It'll play all Switch games. But the Switch Pro or whatever they're going to call it, it's just going to be everything look nicer, I actually wonder if it's one thing for them to make an improved Switch. Are they going to upcharge it? Because like the Switch was what? That was a 300. On release was 300. I would say. So I wonder if this is also going to be like another $300 system, or it's going to be like a $400 system because it's just better,
So the Nintendo Switch currently is $300. I believe the Switch Lites, they're only $200. I could definitely see maybe they will downgrade everything. Like maybe they'll make the Lite $50 less. Maybe they'll make the regular Switch model like maybe $50 less or something, and maybe charge like $350 for whatever the Switch Pro is, or I don't know, something like that. I, for one, am actually very excited to see 4K resolution Nintendo games. I think that'll look really pretty, specifically Breath of the Wild 2, pretty much just everything going forward. Like whatever the next big Mario game is, obviously Metroid Prime 4, I for one really don't give a rat's ass about the screen and that kind of stuff. I'm in the minority. I mostly play my Switch docked. I don't really take it out of the dock that much.
I'm right there with you.
So that's just how I stand on that. Like, even if they improve the battery life, like, good job for that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use that feature that much, but that's just me.
I agree. No, yeah, I'm right there with you. Like, there are people who love to play their Switch, like, walking about and stuff. And hey, that's awesome. Good for you. I'm fine just leaving it docked and playing it on my TV. That's just how I am.
Now, the real question is, will they have more Joy-Con drift or advanced Joy-Con drift with the new Switch? Only time will tell.
Oh, I'm a little scared now.
I wonder I wonder what they do with that kind of stuff too. Like that almost makes you open the question of, do you think they do anything to Joy-Cons or they keep all the Joy-Cons the same? I would assume that they just keep the Joy-Cons how they are.
I can see that. I mean, I don't know. Because this is obviously like a software. Well, it is hardware. And technically, I guess the Joy-Cons are also hardware. But I think this is more like just them improving the power of the Switch, not improving like the controls and the way it handles. I would be happy if they add that.
Do you think they add a new dock?
Well, yeah, I think that's a simple fix because the current docks. Well, actually, I could have swore that they improved the docks since the release because the original dock was pretty awful. It was not very well designed. Where like it definitely caused scratching on your screen if you weren't careful.
Oh yes. So
I'd say I honestly think all they have to do is not use like whatever that like the rubber material is. All they should need to do is just make it like that. What's that like soft like felt material that you see on like it's not like a mouth pad.
Foam.
Yeah, it's like I can't think of it. It's almost like not carpet. I can't describe it. I'm sure someone in the comments can probably tell me.
Polyester? I don't know.
No, just like a soft material that's almost like cotton. I guess that's the best way I can describe it. Like just so that way it slides nicely in and out.
Jagged rocks.
There we go. Gorilla glue. So that way you won't lose it when you put it into the dock.
Just the tips of the forks.
Just Legos. Do you have the Legos on the sides?
Thumbtacks.
Oh my god.
Nintendo should hire us. We're great engineers.
Yeah, we'd be perfect for their R&D.
Speaking of Nintendo hiring us as engineers, Super Nintendo World opens this month in Japan.
Oh, I gotta go.
March 18th, 9 days from now. You can go.
Oh, I gotta quit my job and just go work there now.
I'm pretty sure I made a very similar joke when I saw this. I was like, Megan, we're going right now. And she's like, okay.
Yes, yes. Sign me up. All right.
Now, if you're one of these 99%ers who can't afford a flight to Japan and a hotel and park tickets for Universal Studios Japan
and the translator,
exactly. You can go to Super Nintendo World in the States in Orlando Universal Studios Park. However, it will not, unfortunately, be opening until 2025. Yeah, I believe that delay was 2 years. I think it was initially supposed to open in 2023. Yeah, and I believe it's just pandemic related. Yeah, so that is kind of wild how far that's being pushed back. But I mean, it's understandable. The pandemic has really thrown so many industries in haywire. You know.
Oh yeah.
And we have plenty of Nintendo Worlds to visit with our Switch, and hypothetically our new Switch that Nintendo wants us to buy. Speaking of things Nintendo wants us to buy, we end our news week on the Pokemon 2021 presentation. Overall, Mike, I feel like this presentation was a little bit better than the Nintendo Direct. What do you think?
I can agree because I would agree. Like the Nintendo Direct had a couple good things. Again, I didn't think it. I don't think it met the expectations of a Direct, especially one with that we've been waiting for over like a year and a half for. But the Pokemon Direct was pretty cool. I think the announcement for the remakes of Diamond and Pearl were very exciting because I actually think that I don't want to say that they were due. I think that they were just really good games, and I think if they give them the makeover that they deserve, that's awesome. I will admit though that the chibi style was a little bit of a turn off.
Thank you.
I'm not sure how you feel about that.
I
like
agree
the funny thing is because like when they remade Ruby and Sapphire, they went with like the the 3DS, so the X and Y, so Sun and Moon graphics, which again are definitely an improvement. So I was expecting them to do the sword and shield improvement, or even maybe like the Let's Go Pikachu improvement, to Diamond and Pearl.
Oh yes,
that style.
Yep.
Yeah. But no, they went chibi style. And the funny thing is, I remember when you go into a battle, then your character is actually like properly sized up and everything. And I'm like, oh, like why couldn't these be why couldn't this be the art style or the design of your characters? Like why is everything like chibi style? Like I don't know. And someone made a really good point though.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, Corey. You go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's very bittersweet because I 100% agree with you. I dislike the chibi 3D models, but think the battle scenes or the capture scenes look great. And what I was gonna say is overall the world itself looks really nice. It almost is like a blend between the Let's Go style and I always forget the name of this game. Link's Awakening, like the remake they did like a few years ago. Mm-hmm. It kind of is reminding me of that, especially in the chibi world. Like the things look a little bit more like hyper realistic, but also like a toy quality. That's all I was really gonna say.
Yeah, so it was funny because that's what I was gonna make my comparison to was Link's Awakening, because obviously that had like a chibi style to it, but the point was that just the game was dedicated to the chibi style. Like, okay, like it's chibi style. So it's one thing for you to kind of like, go with the chibi style for the Pokemon remakes, and then in battle, it's like, okay, now everything looks really nice. It's kind of, well, why can't the whole game be like this? That's and then that's my problem. Like, the only thing I can kind of like criticize Link's Awakening for was the intro, because the intro looked incredible with that like pastel art style.
Yeah, it's like anime.
Corey, I
forgot about that.
Talk about bittersweet. I was like, oh my god, this game looks gorgeous, and then plastic and toy appearances. Oh, what the heck? And I think the remake's still very good, but man, I was drooling over that pastel artwork. I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks incredible. And then they kind of like, threw a wrench into that. Anyway, back to the Pokemon presentation. So Diamond and Pearl remakes, cool. I'm sure people are still going to buy the heck out of them and they're going to enjoy them.
I played those games. Sorry to cut you off, but I was just going to say,
fine.
I played those games when they came out, and for some reason, like, I just have like no desire to go back to them. Like, I'm glad that they're being remade. But yeah, I have like no intention of getting this.
No, that's fine, because I didn't play Diamond and Pearl. I think I mentioned before, I played Platinum, which is like the yellow version for Diamond and Pearl, and it was very good. But I agree, I have no desire to go back and play them. Personally, I had no desire to go back and play Ruby and Sapphire, the remakes. I think it was called like Alpha and Omega. The game they looked very good. I just had no desire to go back and play them. But
it's funny you do mention that about playing Platinum, because that led me and my friend into a discussion about these games where it's like, why are they still making two versions? Why don't they just remake Platinum? And it's just like, money, boys. They just want to sell two different copies, Yeah,
let's be honest, because they know it's the same thing with like
it's $60 for a remade DS game. Sorry, I had to just say that too.
No, it's true. Like even like with Ruby and Sapphire, they were like, no, I'm sorry, Sword. Yeah, Sword and Shield. People were complaining like, wait, why are they making two games? I'm like, because the Pokemon Company are geniuses, and they know, like, well, we'll just make two games. People, and the thing is, they know that a lot of people are going to buy both just to have both. So they will spend $120 on. So essentially, they're making the exact same game. They're just copying it over, making a few minor changes. Like, oh, the gym leaders, like two gym leaders are different. It doesn't matter. You're buying the exact. Oh, Leo's home. You're buying the exact same game for double the price.
And to just exacerbate your point, they literally sold a bundle of both games, and I don't even think they discounted it.
No,
you could get them both together for $120 or whatever, because they know people buy them both.
People will buy them. But honestly, Pokemon right now is on a crazy upswing. Even like the card game, like right now, I've been trying to pick up some of like the cooler, like newer sets, and it is like impossible to get these sets at normal prices. I mean, even like pre-orders. Like I'm looking at pre-orders. Like I mean, Corey, like like back in the old days, like if you bought like a box of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, it was like $80 at the store.
Yeah.
But if you bought it like online, you might pay 60 or something like that, right? Here, that's how Pokemon packs were. But now, like Pokemon packs are like pushing $100, like online, and then the retail people might charge even more than that. And then even recently, I was trying to look up like what the one new set is coming out. It's like if you want to buy like a pre-order, it's over $100.
Oh my god!
I'm being like these boxes are just so expensive. It's actually insane.
I actually am like whenever I go to like a Target or whatever, I do check the card game area because I'm always just curious. And yeah, recently when I went, there was no Pokemon product.
People buy them out.
Yep.
I was about to say, like, if I ever like stop by Target, yeah, I'm the same way. I always go and see what's over there. And now they have like little signs saying you can only buy like one product at a time because the demand's so high. And people do this. People will actually like go there because they know when the people come to restock the shelves, and they'll wait there for the guy to come over, and then they'll just take everything.
Oh yeah, yeah. My one buddy does that. He'll wait in lines to buy like whatever amount they're available to buy, like 1 box or 2 boxes or whatever. And he does like the whole like. I mean, he's pretty much in the scalper game. Like he has multiples of the products. He opens the packs and he puts it on YouTube, and then he'll send in the cards to get rated. Air graded, excuse me. And I didn't even realize that so many people are doing that now that it'll take so long for people to get their cards back because people are just sending in so many cards to get graded. And I was like, oh my God bless Mike.
I wanted to actually talk about that, and I forgot. I'm glad you reminded me. I'll talk about that when we get to the end of the podcast.
Okay.
There is a story about this.
But yeah, going back to this Pokemon presentation, yep, Diamond and Pearl remakes, cool. Not for me, but I'm glad they exist. Real quick, before we talk about what I'd say is the biggest news, they also showed off a little bit more for the new Pokemon Snap. You know, that game comes out in literally like a month now. They revealed just some more gameplay bits from it. They showed off our boy Tyranitar. It's funny.
Oh boy!
In the trailer, like his whole moment is the trainer and the whatever the cart is called throwing an apple at him, and he eats it. And Megan was just like, of course he's your boy. He's eating. He's the only Pokemon eating on screen. And I'm like, yeah, you're damn right. My boy loves to eat, just like me. But
there actually is a Tyranitar card that I think you'll enjoy. He's basically in a food coma, like sleeping and his like drool in his mouth. I'm
looking that up right now. Yeah. But I was gonna say, speaking of pictures, that one of the features that they're adding to new Pokemon Snap is there's almost like a social media or Miiverse type thing where you can actually upload your pictures because you can edit them too. And I'm like, mind blown! I love this so much. I can't wait to see all the dumb memes that people make on here.
I can't wait either. It's genius.
I'm so excited.
I just want to take pictures of Tyranitar so I can just use that for my YouTube and stuff.
I know. It's fantastic. Not to mention, of course, all the other Pokemon that are going to be in there. There's
absolutely.
I would assume at least like 200 to 300 of their choice. But last but not least, of course, the biggest Pokemon news. Open world Pokemon game Pokémon Legends Arceus.
Oh, yeah.
Announced for early 2021.
I'm sorry. This, in my opinion, when I saw this, I'm like, this is what I wanted Sword and Shield to be.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to continue there.
No, that's it. I just got to say, this is what I want. Enough said. This is what Sword and Shield, in my opinion, should have been.
So this is taking place actually in Diamond and Pearl's Sinnoh region, so it's not the newest region or anything like that, and it's actually in the past, the feudal past. But it is an open world Pokemon game, and I highly recommend that y'all go look up the trailer for this game because it's silly as revolutionary as it sounds, but I was kind of blown away just watching the trainer walk around the fields
and throw a Pokeball at something.
Creeping cool through the tall grass. It was really cool. And the battles just happen. You just throw out your Pokemon. There's no transition screen. It's oh yeah, you're just fighting now, another wild Pokemon or a trainer. Just seeing it all in motion is such a beautiful thing. And of course, they do the Breath of the Wild shot where they get the nice, like, above all the overworld and you just see all the places you want to go explore. This game looks fantastic. I haven't seen anyone, like, poo-poo this game. I think we're all, like, super hyped for this. In my opinion, this is the Nintendo game that we all wanted and deserved in terms of a big open world Nintendo game. You know, Splatoon 3, really cool, but didn't knock people's socks off. I really think this is, again, what fans wanted.
I agree.
Also, this is just a weird one. They didn't show too much off. It was like a 2-minute trailer. Again, just setting the tone of the game and showcasing some of the gameplay elements. But weirdly enough, the starters of Pokemon Legends Arceus, you pick between
they're mixed.
Rowlet, Cyndaquil, and Oshawott, which are, again, like you said, mixed. Those are your 3 starter Pokemon, which is kind of interesting.
Cyndaquil all the way. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go Rowlet because I think Decidueye is pretty dope.
He's pretty cool. Like the Robin Hood owl. Yeah.
But Cyndaquil is super cool. Fuck Osha, whatever its name is. It's dumb. The water one.
Yeah. It's a shame. Oshawott actually got a lot of hate back when the Gen 5 was announced.
Yeah.
Poor Oshawott. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty cool. I think it's neat that they're giving you like a variety of like mixed generations for the starters. Actually, it'd be really cool if like it's like random. Like every time you start a new game, it just randomly chooses like Pokemon from different generations.
Yep. What? That's
multiple playthrough opportunities.
That's the classic Nuzlocke. I'm surprised Nintendo hasn't actually tried to milk in on that element in any official Pokemon game.
Oh man, the last time I tried doing a Nuzlocke, I like wanted to kill myself. It was so bad. It's so frustrating.
Yeah,
they're so frustrating.
Yeah, you're right. Because it's like, oh no, my Charmander died. He's gone forever.
Yeah, and then I just reset the game. It's like, why am I even doing this? Oh man.
But with that being said, that's gonna wrap up our little news week. There was a ton more stories I ended up having to cut just for constraint of time. Not saying it's not important. But now we're going to move on to our second segment of the podcast where we talk about what we've been watching and playing over our past week. Or 2 weeks, I guess, at this point. Do you want me to go first, Mike? Or do you want to go first?
If you don't mind, can I go first? Because I can kind of just breeze through mine.
Absolutely, go for it.
Okay. So, to start off what I've been watching, to be honest, I've just been rewatching Gotham. I think I mentioned like 2 weeks ago that I was, So I mentioned like, I was getting back into Gotham, and like honestly, I just am so happy I'm rewatching it because again, season 2 so far has been so good, and even though I think I mentioned before, like I know at some point there's going to be that episode where I'm like, okay, this is where I stopped watching the show because it was starting to get frustrating. And I just lost interest. So I'm trying to just like push through the episode. I haven't gotten there yet, and right now I think I'm still in season 2. I forgot how long these seasons are, but like the show is just so good. The characters are great, the villains are great. Especially if you're a fan of Batman, like you'll love just seeing like, these like origin stories and how there is no Batman in this show because Bruce is still a child. So it's basically focusing on the Gotham Police Department. Like, dealing with these crazy villains, and it's really good. And again, I don't want to spoil too much, but like basically, just the characters, the villains that they introduce in this season are just so well done. And I think they like even the people who are casted to act as them, I think they capture that character so well. So yeah, I'm still enjoying that.
That's
and
really
I haven't watched any. Yeah, I haven't watched any new movies, unfortunately. So I've just been watching Gotham. It's that good. Anyway.
You're almost making me want to go back to it.
Yeah. Gosh, I don't know. I swear, I'm going to be mad when I get to watching it, and then I just stop watching it again because of what I'm expecting. But again, I want to push through it. Anyway, what I've been playing, I actually have been playing more Yooka-Laylee. Again, this game actually is pretty long, and I love games that are this long. Like there's so much to do. You can replay the levels because all the collectibles you can get, and like even I have to admit, like the more I play Yooka-Laylee, the more I love it. So again, big thumbs up all around. I will say there was actually a really challenging level where, like, I think I mentioned before how when you're playing Yooka-Laylee, you play a level and then you can always go back and maybe alter the level somehow, like, you know, because you can like affect things in the overworld, and then they might affect how a level plays out, where the level might be flooded or it might be frozen over or something. So there was one really cool level where it actually like basically it was kind of like a walkway, and so you can only to get from one part of the walkway to the other, you had to play the level. So when you first play it, it was like this factory level, and then hey, you got on the other side of this fence. Then to play the levels like alternative mode, you can go in reverse and play it that way. You can just gotta go to where the exit is on this like walkway, and then you play the levels like alternative mode, where basically you do actually have to play the level in reverse, but it's like like one of those like race levels where there's something chasing you and you have to like outrun it. And actually it was actually a pretty challenging level. Like I died a couple times, and because like you have to have like really quick timing to like not just get through it, but to like, you know, get the collectibles along the way. So actually it was pretty good, and also it had a really good soundtrack too for those levels. I don't remember what it was called though. I'll have to look it up later. But so yeah, Yooka-Laylee is still awesome, and I've also been again playing a more Doom Eternal. I thought I was going to be at the last level, but I'm not. I think maybe now I'm at the last level, but at the last level, the most recent level that I played definitely gave me like final boss vibes, because I was at this like giant like Coliseum, and I was getting like these warnings about what's called like the Gladiator, and I'm like, oh man, this is definitely like the final boss or something. And again, it wasn't, but so spoiler warning, when I fought this guy, man, what a challenging, like it was a boss fight, but man, what a challenging boss fight. So this thing basically kind of makes you wonder, why don't the demons just send like a bunch of these guys after you? Because these guys are just so massive, and it was cool because basically it is just imagine like a giant like demonic gladiator, and you're fighting him in like a coliseum, and he has like a giant like mace, and he has he's a giant shield, which actually was like alive, like had like a giant skull on the front of the shield, and it like its eyes would open up, and like very similar to the one villain I talked about before. I think it was called the Marauder, which is a pretty challenging boss. The Gladiator, you basically can never hurt it because he has a giant shield. Like, there's no way for you to hurt him unless he attacks you, and then you can counter him. And so that was kind of like what, like, basically you had just had to wait for him to attack you. And the tell was right before he attacked you, the shield would like glow green or something. But once I figured that out, it wasn't too bad. And then it went to like the second phase where he throws away the giant shield, and he has two giant like maces, which can, you know, reach you at any point on the map. So like you have to dodge and be very quick and try to, you know, kill all of the little zombies or demons that are being like spawned throughout the Coliseum, because then you can kill them for health. Because I think I died like 6 times fighting this guy. He was a really challenging boss.
Oh wow!
Like, yeah. I mean, I know that to some people that means I'm just a complete noob, but I'm sorry. Like, I never once died like 6. I mean, it's so far in this game, no like boss or event in the game ever had me die like 6 times. So by the 7th time, I finally figured out how to dodge it. Like, you know, I figured out how to beat the boss, and it was very satisfying. So pretty cool, very cool boss fight. Again, soundtrack wise, oh my god, what an amazing rock theme that was playing when you're fighting this guy in the Coliseum. Pretty epic, like really, really epic stuff. So
I love
that game
music. It's so good.
It's so good, man. Yeah, so that game's still, you know, basically satisfying my shooter, you know, gameplay. So I'm really enjoying that. And then besides that, like I know this is not game related, but I kind of wanted to mention this earlier in the podcast. I just forgot. Corey reminded me about PSA. So my cards are now officially at PSA, and they're getting graded. I just have to, you know, now I think I have to wait like another like 2 or 3 weeks before they get their back to me. It might even be it might even be much longer. And the reason is because, as Corey said, Pokemon has been, or any just collectible card game, but especially Pokemon, has gotten so popular that so many people are sending in submissions that their backlog is just it's bad. Like, they have a huge backlog, and they just don't have enough people to, like, you know, to get these done on time. And I'm sure COVID's not helping either, even though it's getting better. Like, it's not helping. But I actually got like an email because I was worried that my cards weren't going to make it in time because it was taking a long time because the tracking number, it reached the PO box in California and then it went to another PO box at a different zip code. And I'm like, wait, what the heck is this? What happened to my cards? And then eventually, it was actually a couple of days ago, I got an email from PSA, and then I got like the delivery notice, and they said that they had to like let people know that because there were so many card submissions, their PO box couldn't fit them all. Like basically, the post office could not handle the amount of submissions, so they had to disperse them to other post offices.
That is crazy, but does not surprise me.
Yeah, but so anyway, I'm just playing the waiting game, waiting for them to start giving me like the updates on the status of my order, and hopefully within like a month or so. I mean, at this point, I just gotta be patient. It might take till May, who knows? And then I'll get my latest card submission back. So yeah, pretty exciting stuff.
Nice.
So how was your week, Corey? What did you watch and play?
Oh man. So technically, it's been 2 weeks. And,
yes, I'm sorry, 2 weeks.
I don't think I said this on the podcast. I think it was before we started recording, but I surprisingly watched a lot of movies in between the last podcast and now. I don't know. Me and my girlfriend have been on a big movie kick. I don't mean to go like too into detail about like Megan's life, but she's actually currently studying like for a film major, and it's made her way more interested in watching like very, artistic movies or like movies that have like directors with really good shot techniques and things like that. So yeah, we've just been kind of like, I'm pretty much game to watch like almost any movie. Like the genre doesn't matter too much for me. Like I can appreciate like cinematography in any way. So I'm just like, hey, yeah, if you just want to pick the movie, like I'll sit down and watch it with you. I don't mind. Now, unfortunately, because we're on limited time, I'm not going to talk about every movie I watched because I probably watched like at least like 10 movies or so. But I do want to talk about a few that I really enjoyed. So first of all, this movie I've seen before, but I did want to shout it out. In this time since we last recorded, it was, I believe, the podcast when Daft Punk broke up or like right after they broke up. So naturally, I had to sit down and watch Interstellar 5555, which is the anime movie that coincides with Daft Punk's Discovery album. And I've seen this movie before. I'm glad I actually bought it because a lot of Daft Punk memorabilia and like stuff like that is just selling out like crazy and going for a crazy amount of prices. But I love this movie. It's great. It's a great little like anime movie. I would equip it to or compare it to like a Ghibli film. Not necessarily with the best story, and there's literally no vocals. It's all just the album Discovery, but it's a very good and fun movie to watch, and I did appreciate watching it. Funny enough, I enjoy it so much that I was like, I could honestly watch that movie again. Like it was just a good ride. So there was that.
Nice.
I also watched Grand Budapest Hotel. This is by Wes Anderson, one of his movies. He's done Fantastic Mr. Fox, Island of Dogs. There was another one that we didn't get to watch the whole thing of it. It's like a summer camp type movie or something like that. But anyways, I really love this movie. I didn't know anything about it, but I thought it was super interesting. So right off the bat, the movie kind of opens where it's like this woman going to this like memorial grave statue, and she's like reading a book, and then this like other character starts like narrating his like experience, and you find out that it was like the author of the book, and then like it cuts to like another scene where like it's the author of the book as a young man, and he's like going to the Grand Budapest Hotel, and he's like interviewing this like really old guy who used to work as a bellboy at the Grand Budapest Hotel. And then it cuts again to when he was a young kid. So like basically it's like a story within a story within a story within a story. And I was like,
Storyception.
Yeah, pretty much. But I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I haven't watched a lot of movies like this. But it was great. I loved the cinematography of the movie. I loved the story of the movie. Basically, the movie mostly revolves around the bellboy and the owner of the Grand Budapest Hotel, and they're kind of like shenanigans and adventures they get into, which is it's really entertaining. At one point, the owner like ends up going in jail, and there's like a kind of break out of jail sequence, a little bit like Shawshank Redemption. The owner of the Grand Budapest Hotel is also like this very eccentric caricature of he's just great. Like I love the actor and the whole like character that they created for him. This was a really, really good movie. Probably my favorite Wes Anderson movie I've seen, even though I've only really watched like 2 of them, but it was really good. Like I had super low to no expectations for this movie, and I was super blown away. Like I was like, oh wow, this is actually a really good watch.
Nice.
It's also like not that inappropriate. Like I think it's only like PG-13 or something. That there's not like a lot of like gore or like sex or anything like that.
Oh, boring.
Yeah. Now, if you want a movie with gore, let me recommend the next movie, Willy's Wonderland. So this is actually a fairly recent. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, speaking of Five Nights at Freddy's, you know.
Yes. So this is a fairly recent movie. I think it might have came out this year, actually. But the whole plot of Willy's Wonderland is it's basically Five Nights at Freddy's, but Nicolas Cage is there, and he's gonna beat some animatronic booty. Maybe he's gonna do so with a mop, or maybe he's gonna do so with, I don't know, some like pizza boxes, or
or a guitar, or a frying pan.
It's just goofy, zany nonsense. So basically, the plot of this movie is Nicolas Cage is just driving, being a badass. He's in his like cool car. He's got his like weird IP.
Sorry, he's driving his cool car.
He's got his weird IPA beers, but they're probably not beers because he doesn't want to drive under the influence. I don't know. He's got sunglasses on, his leather jacket, and oh no, his tire is flat. And then here comes this shady mechanic guy with a cigar shoved like 75% in his mouth, and he's like, I can repair it for you. And he repairs it, and he's like, oh, okay, that'll be like $300. And Nicolas Cage, his character, goes to pay. I should also mention that Nicolas Cage's character, that's hard to say, is he's like mute. Like he hasn't said a word yet, and he's been on screen for about like 10 minutes. And he just pulls out his like debit card or whatever, and like they pan over the ATM, and it's like out of order. And he's like, oh yeah, that hasn't worked for years. And he's like, oh, I know a side job if you got to get some money to pay for your car repair. And I think it's like the mayor of the town kind of like shows up out of nowhere too, and leads Nicolas Cage to this abandoned pizzeria, Willy's Wonderland. And then it's just like Five Nights at Freddy's. Like they're like, oh, clean up the Willy's Wonderland. We're gonna reopen the place. So Nick Cage goes in there, and he's basically just a janitor cleaning up the place. As these like, I think there's like 8 animatronics just keep like staring him down on the stage.
Oh man!
Kind of like turn around and be like, did something happen? But
I have to watch the movie now.
He's still not saying anything. Also, let me just tell you, like, this is like the best worst movie I've ever watched. Like, watch this movie with like a beer in your hand or something like that. Like, you don't really need to know what the story is. It's a very light story. It's just a fun watch, okay? And literally the whole movie is Nicolas Cage is like a video game protagonist. He doesn't say anything the whole movie. That's a spoiler alert, sorry. But he's just like fighting these animatronics, and he keeps drinking these weird IPA beer things. They're called Punch, and it just has a fist on there. But when he cracks it open, it's got like the foam of like a beer. So it's definitely a beer. And then I do appreciate that for some reason in the kitchen of this place, there's like an old pinball machine, and for some reason someone made a Willy's Wonderland pinball machine. Like, it's actually really nicely crafted. But Nick Cage spends like 1 or 2 scenes like cleaning it off and making it all like brand new. And then like every like an hour or so, like he has his watch set that'll like go off and make like a little alarm. And he'll literally go to the kitchen, get one of his IPA things, and go to the pinball machine. And then there's just these like really erotic scenes of Nick Cage playing the pinball. And like I said, it's erotic, like these angles and these shots and his like groans and stuff like that. It's really weird.
Is he like humping the machine or something? Like while he's
there's probably at least one hump in there. Yeah.
Weird.
And he's he gets so into it. He gets like super sweaty.
Oh yeah.
He's real. That's how I play pinball. He gets it. But yeah, I love this movie. This is one of the best like horrible movies I've ever watched.
I think it's probably. I think when we were recording like some games for Level with Me, that's kind of how we described it. It's the best worst movie ever.
Yeah, yeah. Don't go into this movie knowing it sucks, and you're gonna have a good time. And it's like the score of the movie is like this butt rock guitar metal shit like the whole time. There at one point there's like a group of teens that gets involved, and of course the group of teens is like the ones who are going to get picked off. There's of course a sex scene where they get picked off. You know, it's a good time. Go watch Willy's Wonderland.
I have to go watch it.
It's
now.
like an hour and a half. It's like it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's funny. It's really funny. Okay, now let's pivot to video games. This is a video game podcast. Who cares about Nick Cage? So one of the reasons that I kind of this is like a little bit behind the scenes, but we ended up like recording the podcast a little bit later tonight, and we don't have as much time, is because the last podcast we did, I promised everyone, hey, I was going to beat Cyberpunk before the next podcast so I could just be done with it and talk about it, like the ending, and kind of wrap up my feelings on it. But what happened was I just underestimated how long the actual end sequence was going to be, and I was thinking, well, I could probably beat this in I was assuming there was like maybe a half an hour or an hour left. Well, I was quite wrong. There was probably almost like 2 to 2.5 hours left of the story that I ended up getting. And overall, I was a little bummed out with my ending choice. I also have to point out that I was feeling a little rushed too when I was playing this because, you know, me and Mike had our start time. So I was like, okay, well, I got to try to get before this and then go like prep everything for the podcast. So I was a little bit like rushing through this because I just wanted to, you know, say I beat it and kind of talk about the ending. And then like halfway through this final mission, of course, Cyberpunk just can't stop breaking. I go through this wall that was it was a whole glass wall, and you can actually like shoot out all the glass, and like it has like proper physics, and you can walk through these walls. But for some reason, because it's Cyberpunk, my guy V just got stuck in the wall. And I tried everything. I threw grenades at my feet. I shot all different kinds of weapons. I meleeed. I tried to move as best as I could. But nothing. I was just my legs became the floor. I couldn't move. And boy, that really made me very upset considering I was already on a time constraint. I was like, I'm going to have to redo this section to get back to here. And at that point, I was just like, fuck it. I just want to really like run through this and just get to the end. And I mean, that didn't really help me appreciate the ending as much. Not to mention, I think I got the worst ending for like morality because there's like different endings you get depending on the actions you take. And I didn't realize, honestly, I was making bad decisions like right before the end of the game. Like I thought I was doing the right things, but a lot of the characters that I liked were all being like, I can't believe you chose this. You're like betraying us. And I was like, well, what did I do? Wait, what are you talking about?
It's like the bad karma thing in Fallout.
Yeah. And like it was a real like bummer, like the way that I ended up, like the ending I got. Like I really didn't like it. And like I'm kind of half thinking like, should I just go back and play through it and get the actual good ending so I can have like some sort of like sweet taste at the end of Cyberpunk 2077? But you know what? Maybe that's just not how that game was meant to be played. Maybe honestly Cyberpunk is meant to have this sour, bitter taste at the end of it. Because honestly, I think I even pointed out when I started playing this game, I didn't feel like a good guy to begin with. Like I feel like I was like robbing a lot of people and doing like nefarious actions. So who knows? Maybe I actually did get the good ending of Cyberpunk 2077. But overall, I do think Cyberpunk is a good game. I just was a little disappointed with how my ending turned out. But I did like it, and I'm glad that actually I think, put it aside. I probably won't go back to it because I got a million other games to play. But I enjoyed my time with it.
Nice.
I was going to bring this up because you forgot to mention it, but we did record a little bit. You played a little bit of AM2R. Well, you kind of made up for what we lost the footage. I think we talked about that before.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that we did do an original recording session, but then I had like some bad files, so we had to restart.
Yeah,
but yeah, our last session of that was it went pretty well.
It did, and I was also just going to mention that we've also played. I played a little bit more No More Heroes. That should be going up very soon on the Level With Me YouTube channel. We made it. It was the 6th ranked assassin, right? Oh my God, what is her name? I'm blanking on it now.
Molly Summers or Holly Summers?
Holly Summers, I believe that's it.
Yeah, it's the beach babe with the grenades.
That's correct. Yep. She's got a fake leg, and she loves shooting rockets out of who knows where they come from.
Oh, we know where they're coming out of.
Yeah.
I know, like, literally in the game, they were coming out of it. I'm like, all right, I guess that's how she works. Cool.
Oh, man.
That was Suda 51.
But yeah, that game's still going great. That we still, it's funny when I was checking to see if anyone sent us any questions on the email, and I actually noticed that I did get emails from YouTube being like, "Hey, we had to pull some of the content because remember I was briefly mentioning how I had to change the thumbnail," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that was YouTube's algorithm being like, no, that Miami Bash shirt is not allowed as the thumbnail." And I was like, okay, I'll compromise. That's a little inside baseball. Let's get back to video games. I did manage to, I forget if I mentioned this, but I ordered a fight stick, like the proper, big joystick, big buttons, almost like an arcade cabinet. That came in 2 weeks ago, and I got to play around with it a little bit. So I played a little bit more Mortal Kombat 11. And I'm enjoying that. I want to get back into playing more of it. I literally only touched it one day with the fight stick, and I have been thinking about it a lot recently. I didn't really get to do too much in Mortal Kombat 11. I just was playing against some of the computers just to kind of get comfortable with the fight stick. I do intend to stream that game more at some point. I also want to go through the single-player mode because I hear that's actually pretty good. But yeah, that's going on. Something that's actually been consuming a lot of my time is a new game I started playing. I have been playing a game called Curse of the Dead Gods. I believe this came out not that long ago. I think it was in early access for a while. It's one of those indie roguelike style games. This one's pretty cool, though. It's kind of got a isometric style, think like Diablo. It has some elements, I would say, from Dark Souls, where you have kind of these pips of stamina, and those could be acquainted to, or you can use them to do a dodge, or you'll use the pips for your finishing moves on your combos. So if you have a 3-hit move, your 4th hit will be your combo finisher, which would use one of your pips of stamina. But basically the point of this game is I forget if the main character has a name, but this character is almost like an Indiana Jones type character. He explores ruins and temples and stuff like that. I'm assuming he's not taking them to a museum. I assume he's probably just selling them or whatever. But he gets locked in this big Aztec temple, and basically you're going through the floors of these temples trying to essentially get to your boss target and beat it and complete your mission. And the further you go, as you progress through the game, it's actually interesting because most of these roguelikes, you kind of just go and you'll die. When you die, that's the end of the run. But for this one, you actually have an objective you're trying to do. You need to get to this floor, fight this boss, and once you complete it, you're done. You can exit the whole level, and you're like, okay, I did my mission. And as you continue playing the game, you get to further and further levels of this pyramid, so to say. So they'll be okay, now that you've made it past all the level 1 floors, you've unlocked the level 2 floors. But to get to the level 2 boss, you have to go through all of the level 1 area. It's almost like a ladder. You have to just keep going up, which is kind of interesting. But the gameplay is really fun. It's kind of, it's hack and slashy. You have your your light weapon, which is on your one hand, and then you have your, I wouldn't even call it like a heavy weapon. It's like your alternate weapon. And it's really fun, like combining the different weapons. Like they all kind of do like different things, and it's a lot of fun to like mix and match them. For example, you have one of the types of main weapons you can have is a throwing weapon, which will be like little knives or little axes. And then on your other hand, I had a whip, and the whip kind of has like a decent amount of range. And when you connect your first hit with the whip, it'll like stun the enemy, and you can kind of like hit them with the whip and then switch your throwing weapon, and like you're far enough away that the throwing weapon will hit the enemy, but you'll be far back, so you will pretty much never be able to get hit. So you're kind of just creating these like fun loadouts and these fun like combos of weapons. You also have like a heavy weapon, which could be like a big like hammer or something like that, which is really good to just for crowd control or if you have to fight like stronger enemies. As you're going through the floors, you get money. You collect these like crystal skull looking things, which kind of help build towards overall progression. Most roguelikes have things that you'll lose per run, but then you collect something to build your character up. This game, it has like little perks that you give your character. You can pick like 3, and when you start a run, like they help you. And I think there's like 20 or 25 different perks you can kind of pick from and unlock. Also, there's like a lot of different weapons. There's only like 3 or 4 different types per each category of weapon, like the primary, the secondary, and the heavy. But they're all like pretty unique, like the different styles. Also, something that's interesting is when you go through each of the floors, you actually build up like corruption entering these different rooms. And that's like a big mechanic of the game, this like corruption meter that you can use like this corruption. Sometimes you'll just take corruption damage from enemies. Sometimes you'll use the corruption to actually buy upgrades or new weapons or something like that. And when your corruption gauge fills, you get essentially like a curse on your character. And usually a lot of these curses are very mild. So sometimes it's like, oh, you have to pay some money to get to the second floor, but you'll heal every time you pay money. So it's kind of like a balance thing. Other times it's like, oh, some of the torches, some of the torches you can't light. It'll keep the area dark. And when you're in the darkness, you take more damage. So some of them are like very mild, but then you really don't want to build it up all the way to the end, because if you get the last curse, it literally just makes you lose health constantly until you have 1 health point. Now you can gain health and kind of like balance it, but you just don't want to be in that like totally cursed state. I could go on and on about this game. I really love it, and there are a lot of mechanics. I didn't even really get to talk about the bosses or the enemies, or I briefly was mentioning there about the lighting mechanic, because there is a big thing about like being in the dark or being in the light. I also really love the aesthetic of this game. Like I said, it's kind of like a Aztec, like Temple of Doom vibe, which I feel like you don't get a lot of that kind of art style. Like there's traps everywhere. You can destroy some of them. There's like big spikes that come out of the ground that you have to roll over correctly or else you take damage. There's gold and treasure all over the place.
Sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, I really love the art style of the game. I think the gameplay itself is a lot of fun. Curse of the Dead Gods, it's also only like $20 or something, because it's technically a smaller like indie game, but I love it. I got it on Switch. I don't know if it's available on everything else, but it's really fun. I'm really digging it. It's one of my latest addictions. I was also really craving one of these like roguelike style of games, because I do really love them. I'm a big fan of like Binding of Isaac. Last but not least, I got one more thing, and then we'll wrap this up. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I'm very addicted to this game again. There was a very recent update, a news story we didn't really talk about because, it happened at this point, but Pyra and Mythra, they came out. Sakurai did his little presentation, and oddly enough, but really cool, at the end of the presentation, they're like, oh yeah, these characters come out later tonight, which I don't think they've ever done before, besides maybe like Sephiroth, but that was a little bit different. But yes, first of all, I want to say Pyra and Mythra are broken. They actually might be like some of the best characters, if not like really high tier. Mythra is just super fast.
Really? No.
Yeah, Mythra is like super fast, and all her moves have like basically no ending lag. So you can it's super easy to just do like stupid combos with Mithra. And then Pyra, like they basically have the Pokemon trainer thing where their down B will like switch between them. And Pyra is almost like your Charizard, but she's a sword fighter Charizard. So she has these huge hitboxes that hit you like a sack of bricks. So I actually think the characters are pretty cool. Again, I kind of talked about how I wasn't that hyped for them or don't really care too much about them. I mean, I played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and it's a good game. But I like the design of these characters. Like, I think they're well made, they're interesting, and they're fun. Although it is not fun playing against them because of how broken they are right now. Who knows if they're going to get like nerfed or anything like that. It might happen, but yeah, it's crazy how good these characters are. Not to mention, Mithra also has a mechanic that Bayonetta has, kind of that like I always forget what this move is called, but when Bayonetta gets hit, she can kind of like stun you. Mithra, what she does is she doesn't stun you, but if you dodge like a certain way, I think it's called Foresight, where she'll like quickly dodge. It's basically like a super dodge where you're not stunned, but you're slowed a little bit, and she got a quicker dodge than normal. So basically, it's almost the same thing. So while you're playing as Mithra, not only is she really fast, but she also has this incredible dodge, which can punish almost every character. Not to mention, sometimes when she does this counter, you have enough time to switch to Pyra because the down B move, you switch so quickly. So you can like counter them as Mithra and then just hit them with like Pyra's forward smash, which is ridiculous. It kills at like 40%. It's just, these characters are dumb. They have a lot of dumb shenanigans going on.
Interesting.
They're cool though. I do like them in the game. I like the new stage they added because again, I have a little bit of love for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I might even try them out because they seem like fun. I mean, I tested them, but I mean, I might actually try to like play as them online or compete as them, I guess. I don't know. But with that update, I've been kind of like back into Smash pretty hard. I've been playing a lot of Smash Ultimate with friends and just the online mode. It's been a lot of fun.
Nice. Awesome, man. Awesome.
And with that being said, that is going to wrap up my week of what I've been watching and playing. I think, Mike, we can just wrap here. I don't know if we have any questions. I mean, I checked the email. We don't, but if you want, we could just like plug our stuff and, you know, send them out if that's okay.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, we'll see it for next week. We do have one question that was answered, but I'm gonna, if you want, because it's a bit of a heads up. So we're trying a new thing where we're actually going to be giving our viewers and our fans questions, and then you can answer the questions that we ask. Because I feel like a lot of people are a bit they have a bit of stage fright and don't want to be like, you know, they don't want to ask us questions. So I give them questions, and I've been trying to give them questions, and then they can answer it back. So if you want, we can just say that for next week.
Yeah, and I agree. That's going to be moving forward is on Level With Me on the Instagram. We'll put up a question, and then you can submit your answer, you know, and I think we'll have fun with that.
Yeah.
But with that being said, that is going to do it for the Level With Me podcast. Like we mentioned earlier, guys, please go check out our YouTube channel. We are uploading new Let's Plays there actively. We got the No More Heroes Let's Play ongoing. The AM2R Let's Play, that is another Metroid 2 remake, for those of you who don't know. That'll be coming up shortly. I also know, Mike, you've been uploading some more of the Minish Cap. Is that correct?
Yes, I forgot to mention I'm finally getting back to playing that, and I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, definitely more Minish Cap videos on the way.
Awesome. And I've been thinking about getting back to my Super Mario 64 Let's Play, so there's another thing there.
You better, man.
So please,
I was enjoying those. Please
go check that out, as well as, you know, rate the podcast, share the podcast. You know, we always appreciate more listeners and more community. You know, that's a big thing. I'd love to build a community with Level With Me. But besides Level With Me, you could also check me out personally, GameBro Corey. You can go to my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/GameBro Corey. You can go to my Twitter, my Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I haven't posted anything there in a while, but you can follow it if you'd like. It's just GameBro Corey everywhere. What about you, Mike?
Well, if you guys want to find me, I will be at the post office begging the clerk to tell me when my PSA cards are coming back. But if you guys ever want to follow me, you can find me on Instagram and on YouTube at the Collector's Vault. Again, we'll have all that link down below. If you guys are fans of collectibles, like especially trading cards, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and all that stuff, I'm the guy to talk to. I love talking about all that stuff. I love, teaching people about that if they have any questions, and I love just having good little fun talks every now and again. I'm also a big fan of obviously a big fan of video games. I love talking about retro video games. So yeah, again, you can find me at the Collector's Vault on Instagram and YouTube. And so here's a little fun fact. I was going to go back to Twitter. Screw that. I'm actually I canceled that. I'm actually looking into a new social media platform called Minds, and apparently it's just like Twitter, but I think it's just hasn't caught on yet. So I'll give you guys an update if I ever start a Minds account, and maybe I'll do one for Level with me as well. But we'll see.
Is there is there a reason why you didn't want to go back to Twitter?
Because there's no meatball pizza on Twitter, but Minds is full of meatball pizza. That's
fair.
why I'm there.
Well, I hope there's no mines on the pizza, though.
Oh, no, not those kind.
That's
it's
not
like
meatball pizza, Mike. These are mines from the mine factory.
Oh, yes. Right across the street from the bombs. They're from the bomb factory. To answer your question, Twitter is just like the pits. I can't stand that. I can't stand that place.
Oh, man, it sure is.
It is the pits.
I get more depressed every time I go on there. It's like poison in a video game. It's like, ow.
Yes.
Ow.
Yeah. Walking through the malice of Breath of the Wild,
Speaking of that SpongeBob reference I make, you see all the bull crap going on with SpongeBob? They got that Paramount, SpongeBob, they're like little
streaming
kids.
Service, whatever, yeah.
They're like little kids at the camp, and it's like 3D art.
Yeah, it's Camp Coral, and I'm like, wait a minute. So how the heck did SpongeBob and Patrick know Sandy as a child when they met Sandy when she moved here?
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure
it's breaking the canon.
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh, Steven, what was the creator's name? Steven Hillenberg, I think his name was, or good old Steven. After he passed away, I think Nickelodeon, they're just corrupting SpongeBob now, and it makes me sad.
Not only that, but then there's also a 2D animated Patrick show. I think it's just called the Patrick Star Show, and I'm like, what the heck is going on?
I know. It's kind of like what they did with Cleveland on the Cleveland Show from Family Guy. They just did it with Patrick. It's like, why? Why are you doing this? Personally, I'm shocked SpongeBob is still around.
I agree.
I mean, yeah, but the fact that they're doing this is like, oh, come on, guys, stop milking it.
Kill it, make something new.
Yeah, in a way, it's like it's kind of like, oh gosh, I think The Simpsons just got renewed for 2 more seasons.
Yep.
Speaking of that, yeah.
Also,
it's like, how are you guys? Yeah, I'm sorry. I have my memories of The Simpsons, but guys, just stop, just kill it now. Don't do it before it gets worse and worse and worse, because they're already doing crazy things where certain people can't do the voice acting. The cast is dying. I'm being very literal. People have died, so they can't even voice the characters anymore. They have to just end the show on the best note possible before it's too late.
Don't worry, guys. If the voice actors die, I'm right here. Here, just give me 1 second.
Hey, homie.
That was my best Marge. Thank you.
That was shockingly good. Oh my gosh.
Also, I just want everyone to remember, if you don't agree with what we were saying, remember we're buffoons and each have half a dunce cap on.
Yes. Oh no, my dunce cap fell over. No, I'm
Pie.
I can only do her like her grunt, Yeah.
Ay, caramba. I can't do a Bart.
Yeah.